Yeah, music just means so much to him.
If he can cry, he can probably get turned on. Welcome to Inchworm,
the podcast in which we're inching through Worm. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Ted.
This time we read Sentinel 9.5.
The Vista interlude.
Who could have predicted that?
Well, you could have, and you did.
And I did. Yeah, this was a juicy one. We got some good Sophia interaction at the end.
Yes.
Which I assume is leading up to her chapter.
Yes.
Where hopefully we'll find out more about her.
Vista asked the question that's on everybody's mind.
What's your damage?
Right. Why are you this way, Sophia? Yeah, overall, any other thoughts on the chapter? Should I summarize it?
I think you should go ahead and summarize it.
All right. Well, we pick up with Vista and Flechette on patrol, delivering supplies to Parian. Vista has created a sort of bag of holding where she just is carrying a small bag, but actually there's a ton of stuff inside it using her space warping power. And while Parian and Flechette are chatting, hearing a little bit about kind of the scary but ultimately not too dangerous situations that Parian's been getting into today, Vista hears a call over her earpiece intercom, Weld asking everybody to come back for an urgent report from Kid Win. And then Vista waits politely to interrupt Lily and Saba's conversation and finally just has to say, hey, we gotta go back. Flechette's obviously disappointed, and Parian says, well, thanks so much for the help, and has very quickly created a gift for Vista. Gives it to her. It's a little stuffed rabbit. And Vista thinks she would have been delighted with the gift were she 4 years younger.
Yeah.
But she smiles and says thank you anyway, and they take Vista's shortcut, i.e. using her power, to just warp down one of the streets of Brockton Bay incredibly quickly. And yeah, so we get a sort of close-up look at Vista using her power, which is very cool. And on the way back, Flechette strikes up a conversation, basically trying to hype Vista up. You know, Lily's like, you know what? You could be like best of the best in the Protectorate. And Vista's like, if I'm not dead, more or less. It's a really good back and forth conversation where Flechette starts to kind of like pick at this scab, being like, that's kind of dark. And Vista's like, well, yeah, but where's the lie? Right. And they go back. Lily says, I can't tell if you're being amazingly mature about the topic of death or if I should be really concerned about you. And Vista's takeaway from that is amazingly mature because you'll see this is a repeated motif. That's her thing. She hates being the baby on the team. They finally get back to the PRT building, and she is confronted with the headshot memorials of Aegis and Gallant that are previously mentioned. And she also has to look at her own headshot. It's her, when she was a little bit younger, a person who she doesn't identify with anymore, and, kind of a picture that she hates. And Lily checks in, are you okay? And Vista's like, I'm fine, goes into the building, and they sit down for their urgent meeting. Pigo is here, and she asks Kid Win to brief them, basically saying, hey, Chariot, pretty sure he's working for someone else, and it's gotta be Coil, right? And Pigo reveals to them, you're right, you've kind of eliminated all of the other suspects, but also Coil has used undercover agents before. There are actually multiple employees working for the PRT in this building right now who we know are Coil's agents. And Pigo kind of reads them in on this situation in order to say, we want you all to do a reverse insinuation plot. We're going to let Chariot on the team, and we want all of you to play along. All of your devices, except for your personal cell phones, will be bugged so that Dragon can monitor them. And that way we'll be able to see, what Chariot is up to. And I understand this is really risky. He'd probably see you unmasked. It's it's a tough situation. And I have to ask your permission. And the wards kind of consider it. go through a couple of options, but it's unanimous. They want to do the plan. Clock Blocker is the most reluctant to do it, but they don't really put up any strong objections. And Pigo is happy. She smiles. She thanks them. She particularly calls out Kid Win for his good work. As soon as she's gone, Clock Blocker cracks a joke, like, I can't believe she's acting human. And Vista's thinking to herself, like, yeah, you know what? Like, now he's kind of cracking jokes again. That's great. This is a high point in feeling for the wards as a team. They're coming together, and we get some nice character moments in the Ward's HQ. Weld is basically like, hey, Vista, hit the showers. We're going to swap you out. Dennis is going out on patrol. You'll take the later shift. Also, come see me in my office, basically. So Vista goes and showers, and we get an extended meditation on how she feels about herself, her identity. She considers the scars on her body that she's had from her service in the ward so far, including one particularly bad one that she kept a secret from other people because she didn't want to seem wimpy, and she ended up having to give herself stitches alone in the shower in order to cover up the fact that she had been stabbed by Hookwolf in a fight. And we get here really spelled out. She doesn't want to be the team baby. She's thinking, how will I look as I grow up? My body changes. Will I grow into this scar? I thought maybe it would be embarrassing, but now I kind of think it's a badge of honor, right? She has some complicated feelings about that. And Sophia walks into the bathroom and immediately starts bullying her. Vista finishes with her shower and goes to see Weld. Weld is in his room on another heavy-duty industrial chair, listening to music, and Vista's like, okay, well, I saw, you and Flechette were talking, she must have said something, and Weld's like, actually, I've been worried about you. Lily's confirmed my suspicions. I know you cared a lot about Gallant. You sound super fatalistic, but I'm just going to put it to you straight. Do you have a death wish? And she says adamantly, no, I'm just trying to be a good team member, work super hard. And Weld's like, I don't know. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but that's you're taking on this huge, huge burden. And there's no way that could work for anyone. Maybe you can deal, maybe not, but I think that you should focus on a couple of things. First, I'm going to suggest, this is just a suggestion, Gallant's leaving a void on the team. I think he was probably the team's heart based on everything that people have said about him. And I see those skills in you. You should be the new heart of the wards. And then he gives her 2 orders. 1, you're going to go see the PRT therapist. 2, you have to let yourself cry. He gives a little monologue about the value of crying, and she finally does let herself cry. He comforts her, and she pulls herself back together, is going to use this time to actually take a break. She appreciated what Weld was doing for her, but she's like, don't let me sleep through patrol, right? Mm-hmm. She's really holding him to that. And on her way back towards HQ, she runs into Sophia. Now it's only Sophia and Missy in the ward's HQ by themselves. And Sophia says, oh my God, you've been crying? I really hate crybabies. Vista's like, how is she so good at bullying? This is absolutely the worst thing that she could have said. Vista calls Sophia a bitch. Sophia overhears and starts really digging in on how awful it must have been for Gallant to have this little girl following him around with a crush, and he could feel all of her gross little girl feelings. And Vista's like, actually, I loved him, and love isn't gross. And Sophia's like, what do you understand about love? You're such a baby, And they're really going back and forth. And Vista finally flips it on her and says, what happened to you? Weld, she thinks to herself, Weld wants me to be the heart, so I'll try and reach out, right? Why is Sophia like this? You also are getting suspended, you're picking fights, you're not getting along with anyone on the team. What's going on? And Sophia just shuts the conversation down. Vista says, I will talk to you about it. Just anytime you want to, I will listen. And Sophia again rejects her. And Vista again under her breath says, I pity you. And this sets Sophia off. She just flies across the room in her shadow state, basically knocks her on her back, and gets ready to beat Vista up. And Vista in this moment thinks it would be so satisfying to let her beat me up and get her kicked off the team. But we need all the help we can get. So she points out to Sophia, security cameras. Sophia stalks out and says, I'm going out on patrol, even though it's not my shift. I'll do a double. Vista, left alone in Ward's HQ, doesn't get a break. She now has to man the console.
Yeah.
And that is our
stuff.
Vista interlude.
All right, so to start at the end, because it's freshest from the summary, I think Vista made the wrong call. I think she should have let Sophia get herself kicked out.
Ooh.
Because, so I was thinking about the roles. If this is sort of a band of 5, you know, we have obviously Weld as the leader right now. Vista seems to be growing into the role of the heart, which we've seen really nicely from her in the past. And I think she is really well suited to it. And we have Clock Blocker. Clearly, his natural role is the Lancer, and he's kind of trying to step into that again.
Yeah.
Flechette is a little bit of a visitor, Lily. She is sort of filling a heart-ish role right now, like looking out for Vista's emotional well-being and stuff. Kidwin is obviously the brains.
Yeah.
And Sophia could be the brawn, but they're kind of all the brawn. I think she's the David.
Oh,
she's the enemy on the team. That's an Animorphs reference.
The 6th Animorph who they recruited. And then
Excuse you, the 7th Animorph.
It was the word.
But when they had a conversation about David, they were like, well, we could use more people. And I forget which one of them pointed out. I think it was Axe. It's like, no, you're like a small guerrilla team, which is not really true of the wards, but it's like an extra person who's the wrong person is destabilizing.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, that's true.
That
small
is
business
true
as well.
of the wards. Sophia is destabilizing. And it seems like we learn in this chapter that like Gallant handled her the best, which makes sense because like he was very good at emotions, but he was also older and good looking and like someone that she would look up to and like and admire potentially. And Vista is a younger girl than Sophia, and I really don't think she has a chance of fulfilling that role for Sophia, given what we know of Sophia.
Yeah, I agree with that. Vista's instinct here, she's so good to want to reach out to Sophia. It's just,
but Sophia's, I mean, I'm not going to say a lost
way.
cause, but like way too far gone for this intervention.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is this cannot be your first approach. You know, like I'm also not saying never in a very, very long campaign, but like at the very least, Vista has to earn some measure of respect that she does not have in order to be able to make inroads with Sophia.
And she doesn't really, I mean, I don't know if Gallant understood this, but I don't think he would have needed to in the same way. But she doesn't understand Sophia's superiority complex in the way that, like, we've seen. She didn't get to hear Sophia's speech to Taylor about, like, I just hate people who are inferior to me and want them to stay in their place.
If anything, and she couldn't do this while being true to herself, but if she could, you know, and this is getting maybe us into different territory, but I do wonder how much of Vista's fatalism that comes through in this chapter is maybe influenced by being around Sophia. Sophia was the one who said, well, if the city gets better, back in Weld's interlude. And I could imagine maybe the play Vista could do would be to be like doe-eyed, like, Sophia, like, you're so strong and cool and like edgy. And like, I just, you know, I feel so lost, and like, I want you to tell me, how does the world really work, Sophia? Right? Like some kind of play like that.
But I'm not sure what that would get her. Like, she'd have to really skillfully turn that into something else.
Of course, but that's like, it's like, how do you get on her good side and build something that you can use to reach out, right? There's
flattery, yeah. Because it's clear here that calling her a bitch, you know, will annoy her, but not really dig in. Whereas saying, I pity you, of course, as soon as she said that, I was like, ooh, what we know of Sophia, like, that is going to absolutely get to her.
Yeah.
Like, that's her weak point, is her superiority complex, like her inferiority complex. I'm not sure which one it is.
In particular, this is the part. So, like, Sophia is a bullying savant in this chapter. It's just incredible. But Vista, I think, finds Sophia's weak point. Oh,
absolutely. She's not necessarily looking for it.
Yeah, which is this, like, holier than thou.
Looking down on,
Weld said it takes a kind of strength to face your emotions. Are you really that scared, Sophia, that you'd attack me instead of talk to me? Like, Sophia, her blood is boiling right now. She cannot tolerate that kind of sanctimoniousness.
Yeah. It was great to see Vista get to her, though, after she's clearly so terrible to her.
Yeah.
Sophia is terrible to Vista.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I really want to know the answer to Vista's question. What happened to her?
I know.
I really hope we find out next chapter, which is obviously Sophia's chapter.
It could be. We'll find out. Yeah, I want to just touch on... You think Vista made the wrong decision. It's really interesting. I don't know whether that's right or wrong.
I'm not actually sure either.
Yeah, it's really tough to say. I think what I would want to say is it's not really Vista's call, right? Like, obviously she has some influence here. What that thought does for me is like Taylor's view that, oh my God, Armsmaster, oh my God, Sophia, they're all like that. Like, this is like, how could you let Sophia be a ward, right? That means the whole system is corrupt, right? And this thing that she said of like, we need all the help we can get. This feels very true to me. Yeah. Like that Sophia is strong and she's been willing to walk this gray line with them. And the temptation, when you are so limited in numbers and so much is going wrong, to say, we got to play the cards that we have, and she's a really powerful card to play. Like we know more about why Sophia is so toxic than they do at this point. But the temptation and the rationale of like, sure, she sucks, but if we can control her, then it's worth it.
I think temptation is the word. You know what? If they didn't have Sophia, it's possible they would have Taylor.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true. I think she's anti-authority enough to have said no to the wards either way.
Yeah.
But now that Sophia is a ward and Taylor knows that, she is never going to join the wards, and she was never going to say yes when Legend offered it to her.
Yeah.
I don't think she would have said yes either way again, but I think it would have been possible in a way that it's not now. So maybe by having Sophia, they're potentially losing Taylor, who would be a much better team member.
Yeah.
And I don't know, that's a pretty unique circumstance. Like, not very many people are going to be the bullying victim of Sophia and also a cape and therefore not join the wards. But I think it's just an illustration of like, by having the wrong person, you can deprive yourself of the right people.
Yeah. No, I think that's absolutely true. And it is making me think a little bit more about how the superpowers conceit makes this kind of thing, it feels a little different and like less true to life. Because if you think about it in terms of like, oh, well, ACAB versus there are a couple of bad apples or whatever, like how much does a bad apple spoil the barrel type of thing, right? This is more or less what Taylor's viewpoint is, right?
And it doesn't seem like all wards are bastards. Like, it seems like the ones we've seen have been pretty good, and the team ethos is pretty good. Yeah,
and while part of the conceit is that all of the superheroes have trauma, it's very different from what you'd say about, like, the type of people who want to be in law enforcement. Like it attracts a certain type of personality, and maybe there's a component of like how that can lead to bad dynamics. Maybe there's something inherent to the way the role is set up.
In the same
way. Right, you don't
yeah.
choose to be a cape. Like, you are chosen. And the other thing that it makes me think of is a little bit of the, like, Me Too movement. Obviously, the gender stuff doesn't map onto it, but this idea of, like, well, we all know that he's abusing his power and victimizing these women, but he adds so much value, right? Like, his reputation, our reputation.
But how many people are being driven out of the field?
Yeah, exactly. So I do wonder, I mean, that almost invites the question of, like, I feel like Pigo's enough of a hard ass that, like, if Shadow Stalker crosses a red line, she's going to get booted out. But it would be such a devastating turn in the story for Vista to get 2 black eyes, or a broken arm or something, and then have Pigo say, well,
we need her.
Her, right? Like, Vista, you get to choose. Are you really going to press charges, right? Like, I could imagine, a story where it went in that direction if she made that choice. And
I think they value Vista too much, more than Shadow Stalker. I don't think they would make that call.
But that's a fascinatingly
Vista
more
has
cynical
power
take.
Privilege.
Right.
Yeah.
It's because the
Vista and Clockblocker are the stars.
Right. The principled thing to do is that no one should be able to act like Sophia, but what you're highlighting is that Vista could take on some power where she says, look, I'm going to be at the head of the Protectorate in 5 years, and we're going to bury Shadow Stalker, right? And she doesn't know that she has that power.
She would never do that. Yet. That's not her. But yeah.
Ooh. Oh, that's kind of delicious. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, is there anything else to say about Sophia? I mean, we might get more to her soon. Who can say?
Who can say?
There were a couple things I wanted to pull out, right? So I've said, yeah, she's just really good at bullying. Vista thinks, whatever else someone could say about Sophia, there was no denying that she was very, very good at finding someone's weak points, be it during a brawl or in an argument. Vista couldn't think of an insult, crybaby, that would have needled her more, which is great. And yeah, she is constantly saying like kid and stuff to Vista, which Flechette does also earlier in the chapter. She's like, oh, kiddo, you know, like Perian gives her a doll. But these are like clearly very well intended. They're like microaggressions. Like
they're
Sophia
also new to her. They don't know that this is
Sophia is being passive aggressive or just mean when she's
I'm not the bad guy,
things.
kid. Yeah.
Yeah. I really wanted to just mention this awful thread about Gallant.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I want to talk about the being in love stuff, too.
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe we can get more into Vista, but
Well, I want to talk about what Sophia has to say about it.
Oh, sure. Yeah, well, this is like a new depth of, like, awfulness. She lays out, basically, Gallant, you know, being like, can you just imagine what it was like for Gallant? Like, you're so infatuated with him. How disturbing and awkward all of your prepubescent lust would make him feel, right? Like, every time you crush on him, he felt it, but, you know, forced himself to play nice with you while you were totally repulsive, you know, like, really leaning into this, like, well, imagine what Gallant's power feels like, which is, I feel like, a fun setting thing that Worm invites us to do, is to, like, take it seriously. And Sophia is really leveraging that here to make Vista feel awful about that situation.
So this is the second take we've had on Gallant and Vista's relationship before his death.
Yeah.
And Clockblockers was, he really liked you. He was always excited when it was, you know, his turn to patrol with you.
Yeah.
Like, you and me, we were like his favorite people on the team. And I gotta say, of these two, I trust Clockblockers take so much more. Sophia's feels like the contrivance of bullying. Like, she's making this up. She doesn't know that this is what he felt. I have sort of a pet peeve about the idea of, like, that's not love. You don't know what love is. Like, it is true that the kind of love you have in, like, a years-long relationship is not the same as the sort of infatuation, excitement, limerence.
First
like
love.
The first, yeah. But that doesn't mean it's not a kind of love.
Yeah.
Like, I hate that thing where it's like, well, you can't be in love with someone until XYZ. Like, I feel like the feeling deserves the name.
Yeah, but it's also, I mean, just like what you were saying, this is also, Sophia's saying it because it will hurt Vista.
Oh,
not because
definitely.
she believes it.
Well,
Okay.
I think maybe, like, she has this thing, you don't know what love is. I mean, first of all, this idea that what he had with Glory Girl was real love because they kept breaking up and getting back together, I'm skeptical. But she says, a schoolgirl crush is easy, real love is hard, something tempered and enduring. Is she just kind of making it up, parroting stuff she's heard? I feel like, who is she in love with? Who is she in love with? And she thinks her feeling of love matters so much more. Is she in love with Emma?
Interesting.
That's the only person I can, like, maybe it's just like a character we haven't met yet, but maybe she's in love with Madison. I don't know. That would be surprising, but
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it struck me, I do wonder if maybe the seed of truth in this is that she does kind of believe, like, this feels like very much like what a 16, 17-year-old would believe if they're, like, a little bit jaded and be like, oh, yeah, well, like, that crush that I had 2 years ago, like, that was
nothing. But the crush I have now
childish.
Is real love.
And, yeah, well, it's like, or even, like, well, I'm not in love with anyone now, but, like, I know that when I do, it will be so, like, heavy and real and intense and, like, gritty. It won't be this, like, nice, soft feeling that, you know, I identify with a child like Vista. So there could be a little bit of, like, older teen, like, trying to seem wise in the ways of the world.
You just always feel,
but
like your younger self.
I think it's
foolish.
mostly fake.
Yeah.
My thought about Gallant is that this dynamic is going to be something he is dealing with from literally everyone in his life.
Yeah.
Right?
He can sense people's emotions, and he's like a good-looking, like, teenage boy. I'm sure there's so many people
I'm sure
with crushes
he's
on him.
much more flattered that Vista has a crush on him than, like, somebody twice his age. Or, like, there's going to be... That's
definitely going to happen.
The horrors of having that power.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it also strikes me, and this is... I wish we had more time with Gallant, because, like, I do kind of feel like this is another interesting gender swap dynamic. Like, I feel like being under the male gaze is something that women have to deal with from a very young age, and getting used to this idea that, like, oh, well, men are suddenly treating me different because of the way that I look, and that they're attracted to me, or, like, being very aware of that dynamic. And that this would be something that Gallant sort of uniquely has to deal with in a way where it's, like, kind of a mind-reading way.
Yeah.
And I wonder how that shaped him before he was destroyed.
Yeah. Like, I think, like you said, it probably was just kind of, it seemed probably flattering and sweet. And also, Vista seems like a really great person. So, of course, like, she probably wasn't, like, feeling gross, awful things about him. Like, she probably just really liked him, which seems to be what she's saying.
Yeah. And I don't know, like...
I guess he's not reading thoughts, so it wouldn't really make a difference, but...
Yeah. Knowing that somebody younger than you has a crush on you is, like, a really normal thing. Yeah.
And usually you can tell anyway if, like, a 13-year-old has a crush on you when you're an older teen, because they're really not subtle.
Yeah. All right. Is there anything else about Sophia? I mean, I want to read the description when she comes at her. Vista's like, I pity you. And then she saw Sophia in her shadow state, wispy, her skeleton visible beneath her skin, warped. The girl's eyes were too reflective. Her entire body seemed to bend and distort, not completely solid, as she leaped towards Vista.
It's such a metaphor. Like, she is almost distorted by this pain she feels. She has become transparent. Her weakness is visible.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that she is in one of her stronger states here.
And scary.
And scary. That's true.
It's doing both things. Yeah. I really love it.
Should we talk about the conversation with Weld?
Sure.
I thought he did such a great job.
Yes.
He started at a real low point with the wards, and I feel like he's climbed.
That was my take as well. That like we saw him at a low point. He really messed up, but it's been a day and he's already here. He's gotten his feet under him. He's really stepping into the role.
You're right. It's only been like a day. Yeah.
What were the things that jumped out to you?
Well, he really reads the team and Vista well. Like, he assesses correctly, I think, the roles that Gallant and Aegis had on the team and the roles that Vista and Clockblocker can and they're kind of trying to step into.
He knows their names now.
I know. But I thought that was really, like, good insight. He noticed that Vista was struggling and took steps to have Lily talk to her, and now is talking to Vista about it. And the orders he gives her, I think, are really good ones. Like, to see a therapist is great. The order to cry is, like, a little weird, but seemed to be very effective. And I really liked the way he talked. Like, he shared, like, you don't think I cry? Like, with the struggles I've been through? Like, I definitely cry. Like, I think showing emotions is a sign of strength. And that gives Vista this release. He's like, if you want to cry, like, maybe your body's telling you to cry and you should do it. Like, that's such a healthy message.
Yeah.
I loved it.
It was incredible. I thought it was funny, I guess two funny things about it. One, when he's like, I can't believe no one's recommended therapy for the wards.
I know.
It feels almost like lampshading, or somebody like if you're like in the comments of Worm being like, get these kids a therapist. Like, that's what I'm screaming through all of Animorphs. So like, I love that somebody in the world is like, maybe the child soldier should be seeing a therapist. Yeah, I thought that Weld being like, crying's great, felt like a very much inverted, like, Tin Man trope, you know? It's like, like, you think I'm made of metal, so I don't have feelings. Well, I'm here to say...
rust!
Right, like, this is him being a good, PSA guy for the wards. Like, he'll go on TV and be like,
absolutely.
Hey, kids!
This is why he's gonna be the face of Capes.
Yeah, but...
And it's also such, like, a reverse of toxic masculinity, especially, like, what you might expect from, like, a big, tough superhero guy.
Yeah. And points to him for being a manager, right? I love that he insists on a real therapist as well as being, like, in the role of a therapist boss. I've definitely had situations with direct reports where it's really tough to, be there for your employees while being like, I feel like you should be saying this to your therapist and not your boss. And so I'm really glad that is happening. Earlier in the conversation, he defends his team in advance with Pigo, where he says, well, obviously I don't have a problem with, being surveilled or whatever, or the chariot thing. But if the rest of my team do, I have their back, right? That's a great thing for a manager to do, is step out in front. And then I was wondering, I think it's probably true that he asked Flechette to talk to Vista, but I think it's also possible that Flechette went to Weld and was like, hey, I just had the creepiest conversation with Vista. Something is wrong. And the way Weld presents it to Vista takes any heat off of Flechette.
Oh, maybe.
He says, I asked her to do this, and she was following orders, reporting back to me. So if you feel like this was a bad thing for me to do, or you feel like Flechette is a snitch, don't feel that way. It was me. I ordered it, which I think is good management
I think he
instincts.
actually did, because he asks to talk to Lily as soon as they get in the room.
I know, but I feel like that's
point,
a really good way to frame it to Vista.
I think what Vista is expressing in this conversation, she is saying, with these people gone, I kind of feel like I need to step up. No one else seems to care as much as I do. I feel like I need to carry everything.
Yeah.
And he very correctly is like, that seems like it will break you. Why don't you focus on growing into this specific role?
Yeah.
Which, is, I think, really helpful advice. It's not try to be everything to everyone. It's try to be an even better version of, this thing that I can see is already a strength of yours.
Yeah.
Try to grow into this strength.
Right. That's really one of the best things he does, is he recognizes in her specific strengths that she has. I don't think he's just saying empty flattery. I think he's correctly identified that she's really good at this.
Yeah. And he's also checking to make sure she doesn't have a death wish, which is a really real risk.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And it seems like very much the opposite.
Well, yeah, we'll talk more about it when we get into her conversation with Lily. Yeah, she definitely doesn't have a death wish, but she is really struggling with, what it means that she could die in a way
she's
that...
sort of trying to preemptively accept it.
Yeah, she's having, intrusive thoughts about death. She's trying to accept it. I think she's very depressed. She's trying to repress her feelings. The fact that she hasn't cried, or maybe she's been feeling...
has cried, I think, but maybe not as much as she wants to.
Yeah.
Because we saw her crying.
Right. Yeah, she's cried, but then she's gotten bullied.
Yes.
By Shadow Stalker. And she doesn't want to see the baby.
She's a problem.
It's not because she thinks crying is weak, but it's that she will be seen as weak if she cries in front of other people.
Yeah, and she is in such a tough position. So she's 13, which is a little older than I think I had thought.
She was 12 when we met her. She's had her birthday recently.
Oh, must have been very recent.
Yeah. We met her as a 12-year-old, and then she said she was 13 recently.
Yeah, she hasn't developed physically yet, so she still looks really young.
Yeah.
The point where Parian makes her the little doll, and you're like, oh man, she must look really young.
Yeah.
Because 13 is, if Parian knew she was 13, she would not be giving her this doll.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That was such a heart-sinking moment. And then, that's still relatively light compared to where we get with Vista in the chapter.
I love the concreteness of the damage it has done to her, this fear of being the baby. The fact that she got stabbed and was like, I can't tell anyone. They might think I'm a baby if it's just a scratch. And it turns out to be really serious, and she has to give herself stitches. And so she ends up with this intense scar.
Yeah.
That is such a visible mark of the damage that this fear has done to her. This complex. And again, I think she'd be worried about this either way, because people do treat her as young, and that's a thing that it's easy to resent, especially when she's been on the team longer than Kid Win. She got her powers really early. I love
that detail.
Yeah. But I bet being around Shadow Stalker has made it worse. Having someone needle you about it would really aggravate that kind of insecurity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Glad she's seeing a therapist.
Right. Yeah, and they were the only girls on the team when we first met the Wards, right?
Yeah, that's true.
It's going to be a big part of the dynamic for her, I bet.
Yeah. I mean, Sophia enjoys bullying girls. Like, she's got a trio of girls and a bunch of girls who are following them, and she bullies this other girl. Like, that seems to be how she operates.
Yeah, I also found the scar on her chest was such a amazing character beat. Like all the stuff that you were saying about it. I also feel like the sort of child soldier of it all, this idea that like they're conscripting 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds to do combat.
Because she was 11,
right?
At
Like,
the start.
Like the bodies of children are such a common source of like fear and like moral panics and stuff. So it's such a perfect symbol to be like, she's literally had her body like scarred forever.
Yeah.
You know, and
scarred in a way that will particularly be visible when she gains like a bust, like the sign of being an adult woman. It's like marring the adult she'll be.
Yeah, exactly. It's in some like, you know, irreversible way. And that she thinks about it so concretely and practically, and she's kind of aware of how other people see it, but, you know, she's currently ashamed about it because of how she got it and that whole situation. But then she's kind of like experimenting with like, well, what if I saw it a different way and I could take pride in it, right? Like, which is very cool. But then when you read what she actually says about the scar, her trying to reclaim it is like a little bit tainted by her actually kind of feeling good about being a child soldier. Because she's like, but it kind of makes me like super tough and badass. And like, that's what I should be, right? So I really liked it, and it made me feel so deeply for her. And it's also such an Animorphs coded moment. Like, the Animorphs don't deal with physical scars in this way because of the science fiction of it, but the fact that she's covering it up feels very Animorphs. And just the idea of like a 12-year-old having to give herself stitches in the bathroom, you know, so nobody can see that she's been hurt is like, that's how I feel about all of the poor Animorphs children. And so I really like wanted to get Vista to a better place reading through this part of the chapter.
Well, there's also a really strong Animorphs theme with this thing where she's like, am I more Vista or am I more Missy?
Oh, yeah.
And we have, in general, seen the Capes call themselves by their Cape names in these interludes, so I don't know that that's significant. But that is very much a like, am I turning into just this soldier? How much of my civilian life is still there? And she mentions her parents got divorced and she started taking extra shifts to get away from the oppressive atmosphere. So it sounds like she's really distanced herself from her family and kind of this is like her main life now. She doesn't feel as much like herself out of her costume. Yeah. Which is...
I mean, I feel like it's telling who thinks about it and who doesn't. Right? Like, Kid Win doesn't really think about his identity as Kid Win at all.
Yeah. We do get his name.
Vista's the one who names him, right? Of course, she's the heart. Like, she's the one who gives us that key piece of information. But Kid Win is not, you know, he might be equally subsumed in his identity, but he doesn't think about it. That's not the kind of stuff that's top of mind. Whereas, like, it shows that she's thoughtful and she's reflected on this a little bit.
It is funny, just going back to the heart thing. We've talked so much about Taylor becoming the heart of the Undersiders, and I don't think the text has ever mentioned that. Like, that's just something we're sort of interpreting it as. And now we get this very direct, like, Weld being like, well, I think Gallant was the heart of the group, and now you can become the heart of the group. Yeah,
he's familiar with the Band of Five. Yeah, he's trope savvy.
He understands. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We also see, this is also such an Animorphs thing, Clockblocker forcing himself into the role that the team needs him to have, even if it doesn't necessarily feel natural to him. Where he's, like, making a joke, and it's, like, kind of not really a good joke. And Vista's like, he's putting out an effort. Like, you shouldn't really have to put out an effort to do that, but that's the role that he's been filling, and so he's stepping back into it.
But like I said in the summary, that moment, it feels so good. Like, I feel like this has been such a rough arc for the wards, and I'm so attached to them now, having been in all of their heads. Definitely. So, like, just having this moment where they're like, oh, Coyle's not going to get a spy in the wards and, like, you know, get them all killed horrifically. I mean, maybe he will, but at least they'll know it's about to happen, right? Like, it's such an important win for the good guys that Kid Win is like, I hacked into Chariot's email. I also really appreciated the subtext that
to like...
everyone knew it was illegal, but they're going to pretend it's not. So, asked and answered.
Yeah, Piggy's like, it was legal, right? He's like, of course.
Yeah, very funny. But just that they know a little bit more about Coil and the kind of stuff he's up to, and they're willing to do this like high risk play. I'm like, good for the heroes, right? Like,
I wonder if Coil will pull a thing where he, splits the timeline, and in one of the timelines he tells Chariot to do specific espionage, and then has Chariot report the information to him, and then cancels that timeline. So then Dragon won't know that the espionage happened.
Unfortunately, you have seen correctly why the heroes are still screwed.
Thank you for confirming that.
I didn't want to point it out, but I'm glad you thought about it.
I mean, that is the obvious mechanism, yes.
Yeah. Chariot will have it easy. He just shows up to work every day.
Never has to do anything
Coil says,
for Coil.
Don't do anything. And he gets the same email every day. And he's like, oh, great. And
this is a really easy gig.
Forget about all those timelines where Pico was interrogating me for, what I know about Coil or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, it is really dark that they think that they are containing these spies, and they're not.
Yeah.
It's bad.
It's really bad.
Dragon's confident. I wonder if Dragon will be able to spot what Coil is doing somehow.
That would be really... I mean, but how? But how?
I don't know. She's smart.
Yeah.
Maybe she can do it.
Yeah.
If they knew about Coil's power, that would dramatically affect their estimation of him.
Yeah. No, I want to hype up the heroes, but they're still... It's looking bad. It's looking really
In their
bad.
defense, it's a really hard power to guess at.
Yeah.
How would they know? Yeah, but this is a bad plan, guys.
I thought it was interesting that Pico kind of references she consulting with some higher-ups. We haven't really seen anything above her in the chain of command, so it was interesting to get that introduced.
Presumably she's like the regional manager.
Yeah, of course, but I'm wondering about the dynamics there. Like, how much leeway does she have?
Yeah. God, Taylor should just tell one of the heroes about Coil's power.
Should she? She has to be better than the heroes. She doesn't have time to go telling them things they should have figured out on their own.
I still don't know what she's going to do. I feel like Taylor's, not underestimation, but Taylor's somewhat unfair bad opinion of the heroes, because she's really basing it on the two worst examples we've gotten.
Yeah.
It's going to really hamper her potential effectiveness. It's like, it's a real problem that she thinks that.
Yeah.
That she has this bias now against heroes. And like, the heroes we've met in this chapter have been good people, competent people. They would be great allies. Maybe she wouldn't be able to work with them within the structure of the wards. But like,
the point you were making earlier, but they work with Sophia. And how much is that hurting them? And,
it's true.
Despite, it's not Vista's fault that Sophia is a probationary ward. But like, she is kind of implicated in having Sophia as a coworker.
Have a scenario where Taylor's like, I have to get Sophia out of the wards. Like, I have to keep her from being a hero. Like, I have to sort of fix the hero system that has her in it. She's a big problem. And like, right now she's throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah.
Or the bathwater out with the baby is really the situation. She wants hero Sophia. Yeah, so let's see. Should we talk at all about the stuff with Flechette at the beginning? She goes back to visit Parian, her friend.
I feel like it does sound cute. Vista thinks that it's cute. This whole scene, I think, is probably the cutest scene in Worm so far.
The cuteness specifically of Flechette interactions.
Yeah, well, just that there's a big rabbit. It's all really nice. Yeah. Delivering aid. They're having this conversation. Parian's like, I had a encounter with some people of the Bay and they seemed dangerous, but I think they were more hungry than dangerous, right?
Yeah.
Which, like, I appreciated, there's some nuance. The people aren't all bad. Maybe some naivete also. Parian just wants to think well of the situation, right? Mm-hmm. It's just nice.
It's true.
Lily acknowledges the heroes aren't doing a great job with the aid distribution.
Yeah, but she is able to get some food and fresh water to Parian. I loved Vista's trick of like shrinking the stuff. I wonder if she must make it lighter also.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how that works, but
yeah.
I loved her description to Flechette where Flechette's like, I have the ability to like judge angles with my power, and I feel like I can't turn it on while you're doing your weird spatial stuff, or I'll just like get a migraine or seizure is what she says. Vista's like, it's not that complicated. Everything's like wet clay, and I'm smudging it around.
Yeah.
Amazing. I want to know her trigger event. We didn't get anyone's trigger events.
I feel like Vista saying that's kind of like Tinker intuition bullshit, right? It's sort of like her power is incredible, and she's like, yeah, whatever, I can do it.
Just wet clay.
Yeah, it's so easy for me.
It's true, she's not impressed with her own power, which makes sense. She's had it for like 2 years. Why would she be still, dazzled by it? But yeah, she just kind of does it casually. And
we don't get her trigger event, but we get some really good insight into her personality.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe I'll list out some things, and then maybe we can talk about her power, or the metaphor of her power. So Vista is exceedingly polite. She says thank you. She grins and bears it when she receives the gift from Parian. She's waiting for Flechette to notice her before interrupting.
Oh, true.
She sits obediently when Pigo asks them all to sit down. She, has all of this feeling and resentment built up, right? She's like, I can't sass back because then they'll just think that I'm being petulant and childish, and it won't help my case. So I have to be stoic and strong, and but like I have seniority, right? Like all this other stuff.
She must also have seniority over Shadow Stalker, who only joined the wards relatively recently.
What is your take on relatively recently for Shadow Stalker?
Didn't Gru say she was conscripted into the wards, like, after having had this whole vigilante career as, like, an independent hero? Like, it must have been more recent than, like, 2 years ago. Maybe a year and a half, I guess.
Yeah.
Must have been more recent than that.
I don't know.
Like, I don't know that it was, like, 2 months ago, but, like, it sounds like it was probably...
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
My guess would be Shadow Stalker has seniority, but I don't know that we know enough about the timeline.
If Missy joined when she was 11, it's been over a year.
Yeah.
And the trigger event for the trio was like a year and a half ago. So if she was acting as an independent hero before that, like, it sounds like Vista probably got in before.
I mean, within the same 6-month period.
Maybe,
yeah. It's tough. I don't really know the timeline that well authoritatively,
Fair.
But for whatever reason, my thinking is...
And, I mean, Vista doesn't mention it, so...
Yeah. But yeah, going back to other sort of Vista's personality moments, she sees that Chris, Kid Win, is getting inspired, which I actually... Another tangent from this point.
Nice to see.
Right. So, turns out, doing good work and getting complimented and feeling good about yourself makes you productive. Oh, it's not the case that you have to do good work when you hate yourself and feel like you can't do anything in order to justify feeling good, and that maybe letting yourself get hyped up and believe in your abilities actually will make you more productive. Interesting.
There's a great Tumblr post that's like, you can't be too hard on yourself, but it turns out being soft on yourself is also bad. What am I supposed to be, medium on myself? And the response is like, yeah, you have to be medium on yourself. It's hard, but you gotta do it.
But yeah, it was really nice to see, just in a couple beats, he's beaming when he gets complimented by Pigo.
He's working on his thing again.
He's working on his thing. And then the reason that she's alone with Shadow Stalker at the end is because he's in his workshop.
Yeah.
Right? So... I thought that was awesome, but she sees he's hard at work, and she kind of unobtrusively just, like, stands behind him eating and watching TV. Like, she's just, like, making herself, like, scarce, basically, and just like, oh, I'm not going to be a bother.
When do these kids sleep?
Yeah, I know, right?
I guess they aren't going to school, so maybe they sleep during the day.
So yeah, those were some of the beats that jumped out to me about, like, her personality. So, like, based on the other stuff we heard about her situation and her power, do you have any, like, theories or thoughts about...
About her trigger event, specifically?
Yeah, or, I mean, what does her power and her personality say to you about...
Seems like a hard question that's trying to drive at something specific, and I don't know what it is.
Oh, I mean, I'll go first, right?
Sure.
So, like, the metaphor of her power, right? Is it that she wants to be closer to other people? Is it that she wants to get away from other people? Is there something to the fact that she's moving her environment, but she's not moving her body in the same way that she is sort of, like, very well trained to be like, oh, I'm just going to be at my post and just kind of, like, stay out of the way? The main thing that I picked up on in this chapter is we learned this thing about how she sees herself more as Vista, and she started taking extra shifts to get away from her parents' divorce and the oppressive atmosphere. That makes me wonder, are some of her skills like knowing not how to set off angry parents?
Oh,
are some of her things about like, well, maybe she was the problem or the cause of the divorce and needing to kind of like compensate for that or carry the family in some way?
I was going to say, it feels a little counterintuitive to me that someone so polite has a power that's very much about imposing your will on the world.
Yeah.
But it's also about easing things in one direction or another. It does sort of feel like it could be someone who is she doesn't quite seem like a people pleaser, but who is a little bit of like, oh, I have to be the peacekeeper in my family. I have to move things around and accommodate other people.
Yeah.
I could see that being.
And with the divorce metaphor, there is something broken, and I just want to push these things back together. And you can't do it for what you want, but the power is giving you that level of control over your environment.
Yeah. It is interesting, though, because, she can't, like you said, she can't do it on people, so.
I wasn't driving at anything in particular. I just like talking about the powers as metaphor.
Yeah, so what other things do you have for this one? I'm so excited to read about Sophia next time.
I know. I do want to point out to you, in Vista's internal rant about stuff that people expect kids to be into, like dressing in pink, squealing over Justin Bieber, being really into the Maggie Holt books. This is a fun example, not just of saying, oh, Maggie Holt books, that's not a thing. That's reminding us that, it's different. It's a different world. It's also an Easter egg to one of Wildbow's other worlds.
Oh, yeah?
Maggie Holt is a character in Pact, which obviously hadn't been written yet.
Right, but he must have been thinking about it.
Yeah.
Or maybe he had like an OC that he hadn't put in a universe, or he took the name from this.
No, well, what has become clear in the web serials is that there is often fiction within his stories that are Easter eggs to his other works. So there'll be other web serials where, stuff that is obviously the Parahumans verse shows up as a movie or a TV show or whatever.
But it's harder to go in this direction where
That's
you haven't
true.
written the other thing.
Yeah. And I feel like fans have done some speculating. I saw a lot of this when Seek was coming out, because it was sort of like, oh, Wildbow's doing sort of a space opera, like grand, like sci-fi thing. Let's go through all of his serials and try and find, like, what are the references to things that might be his ideas that will inspire Seek.
This feels very like Taylor Swift to me.
Yeah.
It's like, what did she put in that one music video that like, that means the next album is coming out on this day?
Exactly. Yeah, so the Maggie Holt books, it's just a fun reference that no one at the time would have known was a reference.
No, true.
I guess, okay, so one thing I wanted to talk about is, I think I said Vista was depressed. I don't know. I can't diagnose her from this chapter or whatever, but what is clear to me is she's having these really intense, intrusive thoughts about death, and it is written that way as well. We get this moment when she walks in and sees Gallant's photo, and it's written, she knew from her own experience that the pictures would have been taken in their first week on the team. Gallant looked so young. He had still been so young when the tidal wave had smashed into him and caved in his chest.
Oof.
It's just, right, like it takes you so abruptly from the description to her feeling this way. And then just a few paragraphs later, she's like, I'm looking at myself. I was just about to turn 11. She hated that picture, right? Like you get these other interjections as like, just like the stuff that she's feeling comes unbidden to the surface. Yeah, and earlier when she's talking with Flechette, it's just this really striking portrait of, again, she doesn't have a death wish, but she's so direct and realistic about the possibility of death that it's lurking around every corner. Of course, with the Endbringer attack, right, it's going to be at the front of everyone's mind, but she's really dealing with it in a way that, like,
we haven't seen that from the other wars.
Other people aren't thinking about it as directly. And like, it's even to the point where it's funny that people are like, oh my God, do you have a death wish? And she's like, no. But by existing in the wards program, we all kind of have a death wish, right? Let's be realistic here. And it's this chilling portrait of, the reality on the ground is that, like, odds are good that some of these kids are going to die, and you can't go around thinking that way every day of your life the way that she is, right? So she's not wrong, but also it's not healthy, right?
Right. The healthiest thing to do for humans is to slightly underestimate death.
Yeah, exactly. Lily's like, but if you're concerned about risking your life, she's like, no, I'm not concerned. I just am risking it. I'm just aware that I am risking it.
Yeah.
Doesn't make me more concerned. I still really want to work even twice as hard as I ever have before. But yeah, it's really something. And I also, it's so tough. I mean, I really feel the pain of, like, being treated like a kid that way as well. Because, like, someone needs to be able to see, and hopefully her therapist will be able to do this, to see the mature reality of how she's thinking about the world and find a way to kind of reconnect her with maybe a fuller Vista who can take some joy in life again.
Yeah, I mean, this has all been so recent. They're still reeling. And she really seems to have been hardest hit. Well, maybe her and Clockblocker.
Yeah.
I did notice, so he's the one who's most reluctant to have Chariot as the spy on the team. He is also the one who seems to have the closest relationship to his family. He's the only one, I think, we see talk to his family.
Yeah.
We hear mentions of a couple of other families, but not in the context of, like, being actively close to them right now.
Yeah, and he's the one in the Weld chapter, he's like, my friend got beat up, and, you know, like, so he does seem to have the most connections.
Outside connections, yeah.
One thing I wanted to say about the portraits again, it's a wonderful way to encapsulate the idea of you get stuck with your initial image, the way people initially see you, right? She's always going to be the ward who joined the team when she was 11. And like,
was missing a tooth.
Yeah. Kid Win, he's Kid Win, right? Like,
yeah.
And even the, like, Clockblocker, he started out being so sassy, being like, oh, I guess you have to call me Clockblocker now. And now that he's, like, an angry older teen, he's being forced back into this role.
Yeah.
And it reminds me a lot of how Taylor got stuck with her Skitter persona. It was very unintended. She was like, oh, well, you know, I'm going to reinvent myself later, and this is all temporary and not real. And then she was like, oh, now I'm the supervillain Skitter, right? Like, I guess people are calling me that. People know all of the villainous and creepy things I've done. So, oh well.
That's a really good point, yeah.
Do you have any impressions of Pigo in this chapter?
I mean, she's overconfident.
Fascinating, like, the genuine smile that she gives them.
Oh,
like, I was just like...
they were like, she's acting like a human. I mean, that was Clockblocker's crack.
Right, but it's like, this is the only emotion we've seen her express other than annoyed, right? Like,
that might be true.
I also, just the way she phrases it, like, she's like, okay, I'm gonna lay all this out for you. The reason I'm telling you this is because I require your permission. Obviously, if she didn't require their permission, this conversation wouldn't be happening. She would just be doing it, right?
Yeah.
And, like, there's no persuasion. She just lays it all out. It's like, this is the situation. Now you guys get to give me your permission. If you want to, you can say no, you know, and it works, right? So she's effective, right? She gets what she wants, but then she also is, like, suddenly very warm to them in a way. Is like, is this part of her strategy to seem a hard ass? And then, like, does she sense that the morale is rising and now she's throwing them another bone by, like, being nice? Or is it that she's, like, giddy with, you know, this plan? Or, you know, I still don't have a read on, like, how tightly controlled is she being, like...
Yeah, maybe she uses her smiles as rewards when they've done well.
Yeah. It's fascinating. I have a new theory about Weld.
You do?
Do you remember what his room is full of?
Music?
He's got a big record collection.
Yeah.
I think, sadly, his vice is probably his record collection.
But
he's got a bunch of, like, vinyl and stuff.
What? Well, if vinyl isn't metal, so he can use it.
Yeah.
I guess there are metal components to most record players, but he must have figured that out.
Right. But, like, just, it's expensive. Like...
But why would they need to turn a blind eye to that? Is it just he's spending money on something that isn't food?
I don't know. Maybe he feels guilty about it. Yeah.
That is the kind of thing a teenager would feel embarrassed
explicit
about.
Tracks, you know, I don't know.
He's listening to audio porn on records.
No, not that.
Oh, you mean like swear words?
Yeah.
Well, okay. Actually, can he use... Well, no, there are like plastic mice and keyboards. He could use a computer.
Yes.
But he can't... Oh, he could use a smartphone. You could hold a smartphone without it. Okay, I'm just checking. I was like, oh no, he can't use electronics. And no, that's not true.
But yeah, I do wonder if music is his vice. Given that Vista
music
knows
is his boyfriend.
She's never been in the room before, and
what's the song? Music is my hot sex.
Yes,
that's his thing. Yeah, music just means so much to him.
If he can cry, he can probably get turned on. I mean, let him live a full emotional life.
Sure, I'm in favor. He should have that.
Just a couple more random things. I enjoyed that Facebook exists. We got Google dropped earlier this arc. It's just fascinating to me. Also, yeah, like Dragon, we have good feelings about Dragon, but this like, oh yeah, Dragon can just do this omnipresent surveillance stuff. Sure, that's not ominous. Like, why not? Why not just let that happen? Yeah, I'm a little wary about this whole situation.
She does seem to have a lot of control over the Cape world. I wonder in what way this will come into play in the story.
Yeah, very interesting.
If she turns, I mean, she controls the prison. She can surveil anyone. Like, there's a lot she's got under her thumb.
The last thought I had was when Vista is calling out Sophia, she's saying, like, you keep getting suspended, picking fights. It's like you want to break your probation and go to some juvenile detention facility for the next few years. She's sort of accusing her of the Death Wish thing, too, right?
Yeah.
I thought that was an interesting parallel, this idea, or, like, question that is being asked here of...
Do you want out?
Yeah, or, like, even acting against your interests, right? Because Sophia, like, and it's clear the way that she's meaner to Vista when nobody is around...
She's playing it smart.
Right, and it reminded me, like, we're like, why is she being like this in front of Flechette? And it's kind of like, well, if there's only one person there, she doesn't feel the need to, like, conform in the same way, right?
Yeah.
Like, what's Vista gonna do?
It's clear that she wants to not be in prison, and so she's doing what she has to do, but she doesn't actually enjoy having to do any of it. Yeah. So she's doing, like, the minimum and trying to stay by.
And she's steamed at the end of this chapter, right? Like, she angrily rushes out on patrol.
Not the worst. Well, she's probably going to hurt people who don't deserve or need to be hurt.
Right. Well, yeah, she wanted to.
I was going to say not the worst
hurt
outlet,
Vista, but we know that she feels like if you don't let people be violent, then it'll stick with them. So.
I'm very excited for her chapter next.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see.
I want to see the trio. I want to learn about their trigger event.
Do you want to hear
about Emma and Madison's powers?
The first sentence?
I do. Do we get any new cape names?
Shadow Stalker paused in her patrol
to call Emma and Madison on the phone.
I will confirm for you. The phrase, she got her smartphone and dialed Emma, happens later on the page.
Oh my god.
Just to get you super hype. And there is a new cape name.
What is it?
Imp.
Doesn't sound like a name that Emma would choose for herself. I could see Madison is more of an imp type. She's like the small, like girlish one, like young looking one. That's interesting. I feel like an imp would have some sort of like poltergeist-ish powers, like kind of the ability to mess with you.
Ooh, okay.
Like moving objects around, telekinesis maybe, but like, I don't know, they'd have to have some wrinkle that would make it specifically mischievous. Or maybe it's Madison who can control people's minds.
In an impish way.
Exactly.
All right, well, maybe we'll get...
Maybe Madison's power is sort of impish charm.
Yeah?
People like her.
Do they?
Boys do.
Do they?
Yeah.
I guess they do. Taylor thinks they do.
Well, yeah. Everyone except Taylor seems to like her. Yeah. So, all right. Well, I'm very excited.
We'll find out shortly.
On Inchworm.
Worm is a web serial by J.C. McCrae. You can read Worm at parahumans.wordpress.com and support the author at patreon.com/wildbow. Follow us on Tumblr and Blue Sky at Inchworm Podcast, or find our Discord link and any other updates on inchwormpodcast.com.